We made a marry at 40 pact in college. 15 years later, I was a bridesmaid at his wedding. Now I am moving into the apartment above his divorce lawyer's office. The first time I met Daniel was in freshman English at Miscom. He spilled coffee on my copy of Jane Eyre, apologized profusely, and then proceeded to give me a 30-minute analysis of why Mr. Rochester was literature's most problematic love interest. I was equally annoyed and impressed. We became the kind of friends who could go months without talking and then pick up exactly where we left off. The kind who knew each other's deepest insecurities and greatest dreams. The kind who made a ridiculous pact at 22, sitting on the fire escape of my 5th floor walk-up, slightly drunk on cheap wine. If we're both still single at 40, let's just marry each other, he suggested, as casually as if you were proposing we order takeout. Deal, I replied, equally casual, though my heart did a strange little flip. We shook on it, laughed it off, and went back to complaining about our dating lives. For years, we were each other's constant as everything else changed. We were in each other's graduation photos. He helped me move to Chicago for my first real job. I flew to California when his mom died. We dated other people, sometimes seriously, but none of them stuck. At 32, I got the call. As I met someone, Daniel said, his voice different. Somehow her name is Vanessa. I think she might be it. 6 months later, I was wearing a sage green bridesmaid dress, watching my backup plan marry a beautiful pediatric surgeon who looked at him like he hung the moon. I gave a toast about our friendship, carefully omitting any mention of our pact, and danced with his cousins at the reception. You okay, my date? Asked, noticing my frequent trips to the bar. Of course I lied, just happy for my friend. Life went on. I dated a series of increasingly disappointing men, built my career in marketing, and bought a condo. Daniel and Vanessa moved to Seattle. Our calls became less frequent, our texts more superficial. Just the natural evolution of friendship, I told myself, not the slow death of something that had once felt essential. 3 years passed, then last September, a text. I'm getting divorced, can we talk? Daniel's voice sounded hollow when I called. Vanessa had fallen in love with a colleague. The split was amicable, but absolute. He was moving back to New York, starting over at 37. Remember our pact? He asked, attempting humor. We still have 3 years before it kicks in, I replied, my heart doing that strange flip again. 2 months later, I was offered a dream job in New York. When I mentioned needing to find an apartment, Daniel suggested the place above his divorce lawyer's office. Pen depressing, but it's actually gorgeous, and the lawyer is retiring, so it's quiet. Yesterday was moving day. Daniel helped carry boxes up the narrow staircase, just like he had in Chicago 15 years ago. We ordered pizza and sat on my empty floor, surrounded by packing materials. So he said, opening a beer, 3 more years until our pact activates. I looked at him. Perrin really looked at him. The same kind eyes, new laugh lines, a touch of gray at his temples. The same Daniel who knew all my stories and still wanted to hear them again. About that pact, I said slowly. I've been thinking. Oh, his voice was carefully neutral. Maybe 40 was an arbitrary number. Maybe by the point wasn't the age, but the promise that if life took us in circles, we'd eventually find our way back to each other. He was quiet for so long. I thought I'd made a terrible mistake. Then he reached across the pizza box and took my hand. I've spent 3 years trying to figure out why my marriage failed, he said. I think I finally understand. You can't build a future with someone when your heart is still tethered to the past. We're taking it slow. After all, we have 3 years until our official deadline. But last night, as we walked through Washington Square Park, the same path we used to take between classes, Parentor, I realized some promises don't need a timeline. They just need the right moment to be kept. If you've ever made a backup plan pact with someone, share this video and comment someday maybe.